Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another chess video. Today, I played, not today actually, it's been a couple of days. So, this couple of days I've been playing chess.com, playing on Lead Chess, playing on all those platforms, and basically saying, I'm 1175 now. Again, I was 1192, close to hit 1200, but then I failed after so many losing streaks. I lost so much. But we're back at 1175. 75% of the way there to 1200. And I played some fine games these past couple of days. I don't know how fine they were in my opponent's side, but for me, they were fine. Uh, so, before we move on to the games, I have to say that we have a Discord server, and we chat there, we talk a lot there. Link on the description if you're interested of checking out the Discord server. Uh, Now, viewer discretion is advised. Some of the mistakes my opponents will make may shock you, or may straight up destroy your health because they're so bad. Uh, and they're also 1100, which also makes it worse. I mean, it does make it a little worse, not gonna lie. But enough yapping. Let's go to the games. All right, we'll start with the first game. I'll spoil it for now. This one had a rook sacrifice. D4, D5, C4, Queen's Gambit accepted, and E4. Knight of 6, a very not solid response to reply to the Queen's Gambit, but I defend. I don't feel like advancing. Although that's really a mistake because he can play E5 and take central space. Knight C6, D5. Knight E5 and knight takes never mind. E4, F4. Yeah. I don't know why I said knight takes E4. I don't know why I said that. Look, I just woke up and I'm like recording this video to upload it later. I'm sorry. Knight E4 and knight E to G4. And it is a clear blunder because you can just play this and win a knight. But it's not, yeah, that knight has to retrieve it and you win this knight. Not yet, because there's a bishop. Or not, maybe it's because you just win a pawn. Apparently it's such bad of a mistake. Okay. But I take the pawn just anyway, I guess. Knight H6. The knights are random horses of the stables just munching on the grass. Knight f3. And E6. Queen b3 is a mistake because of e takes d5, knight takes d5, and knight takes d5. Knight takes e4 was better because you win a pawn, but no. We're not interested on winning a pawn. We're interested on trading. Yes, very normal. Bishop d6, castles, castles, f5. And it gives lots of the advantage because of c6 and not that because I open up his king, but instead he's... Okay, so the reason this is bad is because of this, then there is this, and your bishop gets kicked a lot. And yeah, but and then there's this check apparently, and then white has some advantage. He can threaten mate, and you fuck the exploder, and you have to go apparently here because if you don't, like, if you play something random, then I guess there's like something like this. Let's say I didn't move the queen there, like it would have been a smothered mate, like this. Like it would have been a smothered. It wouldn't have been a smother, but you would probably have to sacrifice the rook. Apparently, that's what the engine says. But I play bishop takes h6 to damage the pawn structure, or to have a hope that I'm going to damage the pawn structure. But I'm also just delaying this capture of my bishop and adding some danger levels, basically giving the choice of black which bishop to take. He takes the wrong bishop. Now, I did not play hope chess, I just wanted to trade off the bishop for an annoying knight. I don't know how annoying. Maybe he would be a future defender of the king. That's why I decided to trade off, but he chose the wrong bishop, and yeah, bishop takes c5, bishop c5 check, and I chose wrong, and I lost the bishop. Now, this game is probably over in like 5 moves, but that's so simple. Rook a to c1, bishop d6 doesn't give advantage. It's a good move. The engine went a little nuts, I don't know why. f6. And you probably know how this is going to end. The king is extremely unsafe. Bishop e6. Preparing a discovery attack. Queen d3. I don't have anything else to play apart these moves. Queen d7. Knight d4, which, as you can probably see, it has a couple of ideas. First of all, if you don't do anything, I will go. Apparently, that's the winning move. Holy shit! After this, and you disconnect the pieces, and it's mate. You're gonna have to defend the bishop, which is gonna get trapped and won, and you will have all the advantage. But if you trade here, which is what was played in the game, then you smash your opponent with Rook c7, sacrificing the rook. The queen has only 2 legal moves to keep defending the bishop, but it loses the queen. And so, queen takes c7, and it's mate e3 after queen g3 check with the knight that you moved on d4 from f2. That knight opened the path to my queen for queen g3, and queen g3 check is unstoppable because now the difference is the bishop isn't defended by the queen. The bishop cannot be defended, and it's mate. Or you can win the bishop back if you're stupid because you sacrificed the rook. Yeah, that is how simply the game ended with a rook sacrifice, which was, it could have been avoided. You could have gotten you could have just, that does not really help. Like if you do this, I'm probably going to take like this. And now the problem is this is not a check. Oh man, what a monster the engine is. Let's go to the next. This is the second game, and I'm going to show you a new opening that I've recently learned, and this is the Grunfeld defense after this. Basically, the whole idea of the Grunfeld is after white takes, you take with the knight. The position that the masters go for is the classical line. No, it's not classical line, but okay. You'll take like this, and then you give white this dominant center, but you will fight with your bishops, knights, and queen from a distance. That's all the entire point. Basically, the point is castles. I'm just doing random moves. c5 to break apart the structure, because if you take, then I'm just gonna either queen trade or go here, which is also part of the Grunfeld. And then it also relies on moves like this and on moves like this. And this is the bread and butter of the Grunfeld. You sacrifice the c5 pawn, you can probably win it back immediately. And you fight with this for the center from a distance. My opponent is a patient individual, has probably been beaten with the Grunfeld before, so he plays e3 the patient way to reply. But you just do the normal stuff. You wait. You wait for your opponent to capture the pawn, and if he doesn't, castles. He still doesn't take. Well, c5 is winning here, but I did not play it because I forgot. And I played bishop g4, the other move. Castles and rook e8. Apparently the best move here was to take the c5 pawn, but whatever. h3. I trade. Gives white the advantage because the bishop is better than the knight, and that pawn is targeted multiple times. c6. And this move, queen move, d takes c4, essentially gambiting the pawn. Essentially gambiting the pawn. Straight up, just gambiting the pawn. Queen takes c4. He doesn't see it. If he took like this, then I will just go like this. And even though this looks like this looks really bad, then I would probably attack this and put pressure. And then if he trades, then apparently white's not that better anymore. Like he's up a pawn, sure, but what about your position? Like if you trade the queens here, sorry about that. Where's your attack? So queen takes c4 is absolutely not the move, but in my eyes, it's okay. Knight bd7, d5, and that was the wrong knight move. Apparently, this is the engine that likes. Like, you have to go back and defend the bishop and trade. But that's still a solid move. I still have an advantage. Queen b3, c takes d5, and As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't take a free pawn. D takes c4. Just straight up, just hungry hippo mode, you know? Knight takes c4 and queen c7 is the move chosen. Essentially, I don't want to rush with the trades. I want to be a little patient. Bishop e3. Rook a to c8. Rook a to c1. Queen e5. Knight takes f6 check. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes b6. A takes b6, and it's a free pawn. Queen takes b6, and queen takes b2, offering a queen trade. And we have a queen trade. And a rook trade, which is a mistake. Even after you win a pawn, doesn't matter. Rook b1. And you're going to have to go back and forth with your rook and or your bishop. Bishop d4, targeting this weakness, your rook has to go back. But it doesn't. So take first I kick out the bishop, because you cannot defend anything. It only defends a passed pawn, which will probably get taken without the proper defense. Attacks the rook and motivates me to go here. He doesn't see what I'm planning, and it's this. And king f1, rook f2 check, going back. No draw. We carry on. And I go here and here. And this is another free pawn about to be taken. The bishop has to go, but it doesn't, because it's defended, so I do this. And take another pawn. And bishop c4, rook a3. You're stuck defending a passed pawn. But you also lose a rook in the process. I mean, straight up, unprompted rook hang. And that's how the game ended, with resignation. And I win with the Grunfeld. That was my first game with the Grunfeld. And it actually paid off. This was the first game I did with the Grunfeld, and it paid off. And I played it a little inaccurately, but it still paid off. I didn't play the move c5, which is critical. That was the second game. On to the third. Alright, so this is the third game. We have another Queen's Gambit accepted. Why do y'all accept this Gambit? This is not even a Gambit. You win the pawn back immediately like this. And if you hang on to the pawn, you have a rectangle of double isolated pawns. Look at this. You win the pawns immediately. You don't get anything. But no, my opponent plays a6, which is a pseudo-defense, because it's not actually defended. You just win the pawn. Because if you take, then you lose your rook to this. Ooh, there goes your rook now. I've replaced your rook with my rook. But you play c6 instead, which is also a mistake. I just take this. And I take like this. And you still can take because of the rook. But he says here take and lose the rook. Bishop d7 and trade. Why not? Knight here defend. f6. Knight c3, e6. I don't know why he played those two moves. Ask him. I don't care. I don't know who the guy is. I can't even show you who the guy is because of privacy. Castles. Knight c6. d5. E takes d5. And e takes d5. Knight b4. Knight is a little annoying, but rook e1 check. Your king is butt naked and is about to get brutally annihilated. But the game still goes on, so that is not the case. Bishop b7. And d6. I win a bishop. I mean, castles is stop and move. And d takes e7. Knight takes e7, and queen d7 check, queen trade, and we just have to win the second game now, which is not going to be hard. Rook a4. Now, the reason I didn't go for this is that black would have probably foreseen it, but apparently it's still fine. So, rook a4 to attack the knight. He attacks my rook, I attack the knight again. I can take here, but I calculated that after this, I made it after this, but I forgot this is a check. So his idea did not work, but I didn't really calculate into in depth of that discovered check with the knight. So I went rook c4 check, which is still it's not the top end move, but it's probably up there. After this, he goes here. Any other square is probably bad. I make a loft. Knight a1. This knight is just bad. Rook b4 check and king a8. Bishop f4. Knight c6 is attacking my rock. Rook a4 and I'm forking again. Boop. And we're probably gonna have a trade soon like this. We have a trade of rocks and knights. And this endgame is completely winning because I'm up a piece, and that piece is a bishop as well. Rook e7 check, winning an extra pawn, but first I attack the knight. That's his reason Zook, an in-between move. And he hangs the knight completely in one move. I mean, my god. G5! After hanging a horse to the hands of a very scared tower, you play G5. Hanging another pawn. I mean, unprompted. Completely unprompted, you hang another pawn, and he starts employing the strategy. If you are dead lost, and you lost because you were on Uga the whole game, run your king. Unfortunately, these tactics do not work on me. I keep on munching the pawns. King d3, munching his king and bring his king closer, completely ignoring my pawn, by the way. Knight e5 check. King e2, rook f3, which is a discovered attack on the rock. Rook d1 check, king h2, rook d5, rook e3 check. I don't care that I'm losing a pawn because your king is so weak. Rook f3 check, king e2, rook e3 check, king f2, no draw, knight d3 check, king f1. And apparently, here you had to take the knight because it's made in 10 and I won fine knight d10. You have to sacrifice the rook for the knight because if you do not, it's made in 1. So, how did this king in f1 over here made it from this square all the way down here? I don't understand. How did you do that? But we're not going to ask him those questions because they're far too personal, so let's go to the next game. Alright, so this will be the 4th game, I think. Oh, 1 second. Alright, so we start with an Indian game fantasy variation, which I had no idea it existed. What I was originally intending was he was probably going to go for a Caraconchas position, but no. He played this. I had no idea I was not playing a Grunfeld, and I got a little kicked around. He has a space advantage, but c6, and I want you to take a look at that f1 bishop over there, light squared bishop on the white side, because let me tell you right now, that bishop will sit the whole game. I'm not capping. That bishop right there, that bishop will not move for a long while. c3, c5. Now I have a French defense structure. c5. Now turn into a French, basically. That's what happens. I just turned into a French. Also, if you didn't see that YouTube notification, good for you. 92! Blocking your bishop, which is not going to develop anytime soon. C takes d4, c takes d4, bishop g7, queen a4. Wow! The queen is out ready to bully stuff, but it does nothing, so I just develop. And bishop e3. Knight b6, queen c2, castles, knight b2 c3, f6, e takes f6, bishop f6, and every normal human being in this position would probably take the knight here, even though it hangs a pawn. Probably not do that. Probably would defend the queen, defend the pawn extra, and develop the knight, and I don't know, go here and castle short side, because you're not ready to go opposite sides. Ignore the DMs, please. Where's his friends having fun? Relax. Instead of that, after bishop takes f6, which opens up the f file for my rook, because that's the reason I played f6, even though it weakens my king a little bit, that's the reason I played f6. He castles long. And you saw the evolve from minus 1.6 to minus 2.3. The reason is because castling long, castling opposite sides, is an imbalance, because now you're going to go for a really hostile game. And this is exactly what I do. a5 signifies an attack. Basically saying, move out of there or I'm going to exterminate you. a4. In some cases, a4 is completely fine. But that just tells me to take advantage of the square, and I'm not going to get kicked out anytime soon. Bishop f2. Clamping down his position, like his bishops are horrible. And soon my bishops will be out soon. Bishop g5 check, forcing the king inside. Queen b6, king a1. Because if you do not do that and you did something random, that's a royal fork. So king a1. The king is trying to, the king is trying to, like, do this, like, warp out of my phone, but that's not really possible. Knight b4. Queen b1. The couple has been trapped in the corner. Knight d2. Gives away a little bit of advantage, but as far as I'm concerned, it is the... You're forcing a knight for a rook trade, which is beneficial for you. And the queen has no more legal moves. That's the reason why I tell sacrifice the rook, because if you don't sacrifice the rook, you just lose your queen. And it's mate in one here, like this. Don't even go for the queen, just go for the mate in one. So that's also the other reason why you should sacrifice. And you go like this. Queen d1. Basically saying, I'm gonna go back. Although, taking here was absolutely fine by the engine, but I don't take. It's a bishop. Knight b5. Bishop d7. Now, generally, the bishop on the French defense is really bad, but this is not really the French defense. However, it's still a bad bishop. Straight up. It's still bad. So, trading it off would be really nice. Knight c6. h4. Now he goes for an attack, which is very late. Bishop f6, my bishop just chills there, like a chill guy that he is. Knight b5, knight e7, queen d3, which does absolutely nothing after takes. And takes like this, you lose your queen after the queen trade, and then this position is completely winning for me because I have a rook. I don't care that I have two bishops and a knight. I have two rooks, and your king, look at your king. My king is living at a luxurious home in Toronto. But your king is living in Ohio right now, straight up. b6, solidifying my pawns, which is apparently gives away lots of advantage. The computer wants this. I don't know why he wants this. Maybe because the position is so good that there's nothing to play. I don't know. But those who have this move instead, which is perfectly fine in my opinion. You defend the pawn from any incoming knight attacks. h5, that was the whole plan. c5. And I'm pretty concerned that this is probably a great move. g4 locks down completely the king side, and I'm completely impervious to king side attacks. h6 locks down everything. Knight c3, rook a to b8, bishop g2. Finally, after going on bishop f1 all the way back, where is it? What is bishop f1? After all the way to move 6, it has been around 30 plus moves. After all the other pieces were getting killed left and right, finally the bishop decided that it was about time to move itself. Around 27 moves later. And moves to the worst possible square. I mean, you could have gotten a little too active like this, but no, you moved to the worst possible square, which is this. Rook f to c8, just attacking stuff. And rook e1. King f7 holds everything tight together. And now this is a mistake. Because you can sacrifice. You can sacrifice for this. Because it's a completely winning endgame. Because I don't know why it's a completely winning endgame. But probably it revolves around the fact that there is double pawns. And they're also isolated. Which are going to be permanent weaknesses on the on the queen side. And plus, there's also a passed pawn in the middle, which is probably why the ensign wanted to go for this endgame. But I double up my rooks, or try to. But I wouldn't even double my rooks. I would just, I would do like this. And I was thinking of sacrificing the rook for the knight. But he does this, and I trade, and now he has 0 chances of coming back. Because rook b7, he traded off. Look at the mistake that white did. Your dark square bishop is your better bishop, because your light square bishop is stuck behind the f3, g4, and h5 pawns. Why do you trade your great bishop? I don't understand. Bishop takes e5, d takes e5, rook b7, and I have double rooks, and apparently the ensign says here, sacrifice. Straight up, sacrifice the rook for the knight and the extra pawn. I was calculating that. I was calculating after this, and this. There was this, but there was also this, apparently. And I was completely winning. And after this, then I can win a bishop. But now I'm going to win a pawn. And this endgame is completely winning. But no. I'm not that good at calculating. So rook c4 is also a perfectly fine move. The second line of the engine. The idea is basically that just going active with my rook. That's all. I mean, bishop f1. Finally, the bishop goes back to its original square. This is like the second time this happens. Rook 4 to c5. I don't know why it says 4 to c5. Oh, because it's you have two rooks on the same file. Which rook do you move on c5? That's the reason. Yeah, I get it. Now I'm still learning the chess notation. Relax. Knight a4. This hangs rook c1 check, rook takes c1, rook takes c1 check, and a bishop. And after this, then there's this. And my opponent ran out of time here. And even if he didn't run out of time, if this was a 30-minute game, how do you defend this? Like, yes, you can do this. You can, you can't even win it with your king. You have to reroute and try to win it. And by the time you do that, I'm gonna win your pawns. You can bring your king. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna chill around here. And I'm gonna push my other pawn. Yes, you can fork me. It's fine. Fork me. I don't care. Fork me. I'm winning the knight anyway. And boom, you have to worry about this. The problem is that after that, I queen like this. If you go and kick out my knight, I go here. And you can take my pawn. It doesn't matter because I queen. Let's go to the next game. This time, we have a French defense. Now, d4, d5, the advanced variation, which is my favorite variation. I'm going to be honest with you, it's my favorite variation. Because after this, then you have to defend probably, and then you put non-stop pressure on this pawn by developing like this. And that's a mistake. Even though that could have been a novelty, that's a mistake. Because of this. And I can do this now. Which is played on the game. And I take back with a knight. And yes, you can exert some serious pressure on the knight. And yes, you can exert some pressure on this knight. But I just defend. I'm cocooning. Even though I'm cocooning, I'm fine. You can take that. It doesn't matter that they double my pawns. Because of all the trades. After all this, look at my king in a bit. I have an OpenG file, which I can use for attacks. I have an... yes, after trading the queen is also really bad here. Taking like this would have been a lot better. But I would have probably gone here, and I would have been probably fine. It's a bunker of pawns. But oh, you choose to trade the worst possible piece, to take back with the worst possible piece here because of the queen trade, and I have 0 attack. Now I have the open attacks because bishop b4, inviting this move to be played, inviting a3 and b4. Why? I want to create some weaknesses. These pawns, they're not scaring anybody. Rook d1, king e7, and I told you to look at this king, my king. He's in the bunker of pawns, and the good thing about this bunker of pawns is there are no checks. There are just no checks. There's nothing. This king is absolutely, totally safe in the middle, hanging with his pawns. And it will be a very critical asset in the endgame, because my king will be more active. Meanwhile, his king is, yes, safe on with his pawns, castled. It will take him a little longer to get into the endgame. It will be a future problem for him. Knight c3. Rook c8, attacking the knight, and then knight goes here. I was contemplating leaving with my bishop, but it would have been a little too less of an active move, so I choose to trade like this. And he plays this move, so he can avoid back rank problems. Rook b to c6, rook a2, rook c2, and we'll force a rook trade. And rook d3, and e5. Hanging a pawn completely, I did not see that, but it's fine, because my opponent, a while later, also hangs a pawn of his own. I mean, yeah. King f3, f5. Basically, it just locks down the king from ever moving. King g2. h5 stops any g4 shenanigans. After king h3, I calculated a very complicated move. e4. Now, what does this move do? You're like, first of all, if the king comes back, I just solidify, and I'm fine. Like, you have to give up a pawn here. Apparently, that's what the engine is saying. You attack this, and then go here. And you got so many pass pawns to deal with. Yes, you can go here, but I'm just going to push. You can take as many pawns as you like. Take all of them. Doesn't matter. Take all of them. Check me. I don't care. Check me again. I'm going to triangulate. And I'm going to shield like this. And you're going to take another free pawn. Yes, sure. Sure, buddy. What about now? What about now? Endgame is winning. The other idea of king h3 is after e4. If the white king lazily crosses the rank, the fourth rank, because, hey, I can get to more pawns. That is how white thought. White thought for less than 5 seconds in a 10-minute game in this position. And it's the wrong move. Why? Because after e3, discover check, you are too slow to stop the pawn. If you decide I'm going to go back, you are 1 square slow. And I queen first. So he decides to take a pawn. After thinking for 40 seconds, king g5, rook g4 check declines any sort of counterplay. f1 equals queen, h4, take, rook c5, queen d1 check, and the wrap around walk of shame like this. And that's how this game ended. This is probably one of the trickiest moves I've ever played this month, playing on chess.com. E4 here is so complicated. It relies on the king going backwards. Forwards. Because so everybody's saying 9 times out of 10, this Gotham chess guy says 9 times out of 10, forwards move is going to be always good. This is the 1 time out of 10 it's not good. Because it loses to the game instantly. And apparently here, b6 is what you should have played. Attack the rook first, and then play e3 discover check. Wow. It's the same thing, but without playing b6. You just go here and you're fine. And white proceeds to make it worse by not covering like this, even though I'm still fast. Ooh, you saw that? You had to go here. And then boom. And you can give as many checks as you want. You can sacrifice your rook, it doesn't matter. I'm going to promote next move, and you're screwed. Let's go to the final game for today. And for the final game for today, we have another Queen's Gambit accepted. Stop taking the Gambit. I know this is me trying to convince black to take the pawn. This is not a good move. I have to tell you right now. I want to play Catalan. I want to play into this position. I want to play Catalan. I don't want to play I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this. I want to play this. I want to play Catalan and brush on my Catalan knowledge. And if you don't go for the Catalan, go for the Slav. I'll just take. After you take back, I'll just develop normally like a London system, but without the c-pawn. Why do y'all have to play Queen's Gambit accepted? I don't understand. Anyways, e4. That's the point of the Queen's Gambit. b5. a4. c6. b3. One of the lines I play. Even though it completely hangs the pawn in this case. Take and defend and boom. Double attack of the pawn. Oh no, he pinned me. No. Oh no. Now, who do you think is winning in this position? Obviously white, because he has more pieces out. White moved nothing but pawns. And the bishop that he moved on move... What move was it? On move 8 is gone. So he has to develop something. And bishop d3, I have faster development. Extremely faster development. In this move, I calculated that after this, there is like some weird f5 stuff. So I decided to let him take b. And then open the f-file myself. Bishop d7. That bishop is the worst bishop you can possibly have. Except the French bishop, which is even worse. But I believe this one takes the spot. Because that bishop is stuck. Stuck defending pawns. Like this. It's going to be undeveloping, developing, undeveloping all the time. Rook c1. Attacking everything on the position. Bishop d7. As you can see, the bishop is stuck moving back and forth. And you have to defend it as well. Rook b1. Rook a7. Apparently the ancestors give up the pawn and shut up. Rook b2 a1. Rook b7. Rook c5. Another pawn is hanging. Rook a7. Back there again. Knight c4. Preparing some entry with a knight. And queen here. We have a queen trade, but still the pawn. The pressure on the pawn. C5 is the move chosen. And unfortunately, the game now starts lingering towards equality because we're starting to run low on time. We are like 5 or 4 minutes left. So I play this, and now we're completely equal. Like, straight up, there's no disadvantage. I mean, I only have a protected pass pawn. That's all. And this move, king comes a little closer, king comes a little closer, king comes a little closer, defend the knight, check, king comes a little closer, f6, knight c8 check, and we do this. Now the game is like a draw. It says go for a draw, it doesn't matter. F takes e5, discover check, and trade the knight, take this. He loses a pawn. Tries to grab mine, rook d6, grab it, I don't care. I have 2 pawns, you have 1. But yours will be easily stopped. After this move, I play this, another check, and this, even though you did not see that, because we're actually running low on time, I have 2 minutes left. It's a blitz game now. I bring my king. He does this, but his king is completely cut off, and his rook is forced to be passive. That is what I wanted, a passive rook. And you cannot go forward because of the king being stuck like this. Your king can't go forward because of this rook over here. This rook is doing an amazing job at keeping the king out. Alright, so there was a cut here. You probably seen it. There was a cut because I got a phone call. Yeah, there was a cut. So, that's the first cut that I'm making a chess video on this channel. I mean, anyway, king e3, threatening to basically win the pawn, and saying that you can't move forward, you can only move your king back and forth. And after this, black's position is completely paralyzed. Rook b4, rook is stuck defending the pawn. Rook b8, king takes the pawn. Rook g8, check, and we go back. He goes up, go up. He goes here, we defend. He goes down here, try and give a check. No, we give a check first, and then we play this. And if he goes here, we block. And if he goes here, we check. If he goes here, we go here. And if he goes king h7, check, and you have a 1 in 3 chance of holding the game for a little bit. And after you do this, then there's this probably. Oh, that's like blundering a draw. Holy shit. Oh, this is a stalemate. Holy shit. Alright. I guess this doesn't quite work. I have to, like, go back, and then I have to do this. Take the pawn, but still completely winning, but it's so tough. Instead, he chooses king g6 and mate in 1. Folks, stop taking the queen's gambit. Stop giving me a great position. It's not good. And if you're gonna take the queen's gambit, after this, play this. Strike back immediately. Now, there's also like counter gambits. There's like e5 here. I'll be counter gambit. You can study that, where you take like this and you wedge the pawn forward. And yeah, that's all I have to say for today. That's all the games I showed you today. Get out of here.